Champion, how you doing? Just welcome back. Today's week we just kind of following up on what we built on last week. So thank you for your questions. So today's topic is basically we're going to follow up, and the key question is, how do we get clarity on our vision? Again, how do we get clarity on our vision? As you guys remember, last week we reviewed how the importance of having a vision, right? And if you haven't seen it, thank you for your comment. Everybody, thank you for great comments. I think it was useful. But literally, if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest and you go understand why it's important to have a vision, right? So today's topic, we're really going to explore how do we clarify our vision and our dreams. I'm sure we've seen in all literature, we talk about the power of having a vision and how it's important. But now what I haven't seen really in many literatures or in many teaching is, how do we get clarity on that vision? And that's what I really want to explore today and kind of share with you, in today's topic, really, how do we do that? So there are a couple of things, and I promise you stay on because I'm going to share some amazing vantage point that will help you to do that. So the easiest way for me, the way I look at it, is really just to take a deep breath. Again, let's just take a deep breath. So how do we get clarity on our vision? The easiest way that I found is to ask ourselves, what matters to me? Again, let me ask you a question. What matters to you, my friend? Right? So as I say that, as we go in our mind, we also go in our heart. Because the dichotomy, or really the fallacy, is when we talk about vision, people think a lot about what's going on here. You have the imagination. Yes, but that doesn't help to clarify it, right? So there is something I really want to touch on, right? Because how do we get clarity on our vision? And clarity is really, really an important work that we have to do. And one thing that I was thinking about, what does it mean to be clear? And I kind of ponder on that. So clarity comes from Latin in late 1600, from clarus, which means to make it distinct, well-defined, right? Free from confusion. So if you think about it, why it's important for us to have clarity on our vision, it's very clear. If you're still doubting why, it's for the main reason, my friend. I don't know if you read the book Think and Grow Rich, but there is just one anecdote I want to share here. I'm sure you've heard about it, maybe if it's not from that book. It's successful people in any endeavor, in any field you've seen, they're very quick to make a decision, right? They're very quick to make a decision. They're decisive, right? Which is meant to cut. Because why? Because they have clarity, right? So it's really, really something that I really think we should all work on. And it's a verb, right? Which means it's something you do daily, right? So having clarity on our vision is important because why? Because if you think about it, all the successful people, they're clear and fast at making decisions. While average people have a real problem making decisions. You know why? Because they're not clear on their vision. And this is where I'm leading to. Because the most successful people, guess what? They're clear on what matters to them, right? So let me ask you, are you clear on what matters to you, right? And I really want to pause here. It's very important, and I really don't want to, I want to bring that point home. Because when you think about what matters to you, you go in your heart, right? And that's important because we kind of think about here about what matters to us. But when you go really here, you connect those two, you get clarity on what matters to you. And I really want to just emphasize on that. The main reason is why, because when you know what matters to you, everything else flows, right? So coming back to the example of why successful people are decisive, this is not just anecdote. In fact, there are science in psychology that proves it. You know why? Because it's been proven now that there is no such thing as objective decision, right? Again, I'm going to repeat that. There is no such thing as objective decision. What I mean by that is that decision we make, like you now looking at me, you're making some decision. Is it worth watching this, right? Is what he's sharing, is it worth it, right? So I hope I get your attention here, because there is no such thing as objective decision. So at any moment when we make decision, it's based on what we already know, right? So I really want you to think about it. So if we make decision on what we know, it's important that we know what matters to us, right? Whether it's on a conscious level or subconscious level. And here is a secret, my friend. That's why the most successful people are clear on what matters to them. Because as you get clear on what matters to you, you get clear on what you want, you get clear on who you want to be, you get clear on who you are. So what that does, that gives a clear distinction on your boundaries, right? And as you clear on your boundaries, you make decision. Make sense? So I really hope you go and listen to this and look at this again, but really that's really the key, that's the secret. Because the more clear you get your boundaries about what matters to you, about who you are, the easier it is to make decision, right? And so the extension of that is, as you get clear on your vision, on what matters to you, like I discussed last time, our brain helps us, guide us through what matters to us, and then we go on and forth. That's really the secret. So that's why I really want to spend some more time here on helping you on getting clarity on that vision or that dreams or that goal, right? I know it seems simple. People say, hey, get clear on that, get crystal clear. But how do we do that? I think the key I want to share here is, I hinted it a little bit earlier, this is a key, it's a secret. You ready? Sure? In our human experience, we're living in a world of polarity. Let me repeat that again. In our human experience, we're living in a world of polarity, right? What do I mean by that? Where is minus, where is a plus? You look at the batteries, where is minus, where is a plus, right? There is basically, dark, light, right? Low, high, right? So on and so forth. So that duality, that polarity is part of our human experience. So in order to get clarity, we got to understand that polarity, right? So that's why the most successful people, they say, start with your why or know your why. Why? Why is that? Because most of them, they've had some strong emotional experiences in their lives that allows them to have that distinction I'm talking about, right? As you can look in many people, the first example is, for example, Michael Jordan, right? If you follow basketball, but if you don't know, it's just a small example as, we talk about sport. Because he was cut from his high school team, he got that emotional experience where he felt rejected. So that create for him emotional path, a distinction of wanting to pursue that goal, right? So that polarization, that trauma, you can say, which was extreme, allow him to polarize himself on the want, on his vision, and be clear about what he wants, right? So similarly, if you haven't read the book, for example, Men's Search for Meaning, a great book I highly recommend, right? Viktor Frankl is going through Holocaust, experience, and in that traumatic experience, he makes a decision that really he wants to live so he can tell the story, and really, he call it the last frontier for human freedom, right? It's having that choice, right? The power of our attitude. So I want to bring it back really home, because how do we get clear on our vision? We get clear by getting clear on what matters to us, right? So what that means is really connecting our mind through our imagination and our heart, right? So it is easy most of the time for people to go the other way, right? Because it's easier for us to know what we don't want, right? It's easier to know what we don't want because we've experienced it, right? And that's really where the trick is. Most people will be stuck in what they don't want. But here's the trick. Here's the trick. You ready? Don't get stuck in what you don't want. Knowing what you don't want is a good start, right? But if you remember the law of polarity, you got to polarize yourself from that minus to a plus. So knowing what you don't want is a good start. And a lot of people get stuck here, right? And the key is to elevate yourself, understand that we live in a world of polarity, and move toward what you want, right? So yes, through learning what you don't want, you know your boundaries. But don't stop there. That's a ninja mind tricks. A lot of people, 90% of people, or average people, they get stuck here in what they don't want. That's really where they get stuck. Instead, the ninja mind tricks is the gift we have as human. It's called metacognition, right? It's basically the ability to think about what we're thinking about. Huh? Yes, metacognition, that's what it's all about. You think about what you're thinking about, right? As I'm saying that, you're probably thinking about what were you thinking about before I said it, right? So what are you thinking about now? What were you thinking about just before I said that? Right? So you have the ability to go back to that. That's what metacognition is. And that's really our gift as human in this experience, right? To be able to do that. And in a way, that's what Viktor Frankl is also talking about, right? But so really, if you can connect to that, really that's what I want to share at the end. How do we get that clarity about what matters to us? Yes, some ways it's good to know what you hate, what you don't like. That helps you to polarize and get clear. But the next level is to go forward about what would you love, right? So what would you love, right? And this is where really I love the framework that one of my mentors, Mary Morrissey, shared. And in a way, she's talking about how do we tune in to what we love, and that's where you come back to your heart, right? So it's here, but yes, why is it hard? Because having a vision is something we haven't seen yet in our 5 or 6 senses. That's what makes it hard to get that clarity. Make sense? So that's why it's important to go in your heart in order to get that clarity, that sensation, that strength. And that's what I love. And I'm going to share that framework I learned from Mary Morrissey. It's basically, she says, go back in what would you love, right? As you connect to what would you love, right, you get connected to the future and what your vision can be, right? So she gave a 5-step framework where you can test if what you want, what you love will make sense to you, right? Because sometimes we just look at shiny object, we think it's what we want, what our vision is, but maybe it's not. So I love the framework I'm going to share with you quickly is, number 1, ask yourself, the way to test it if your vision is worth it, is worth your time, is do you feel more alive when you feel about your dream or your vision, right? Let's think about it. It's the beginning of a year, but whatever it is, if you have a goal, right, what you want, does it give you more life? Let's think about it. Life is expensive. Life wants you to grow, right? You have that little, sperm and eggs that just grow up, right, and make us, right? We're growing, right? A baby growing up. So life wants to expand. So let's think about that objectively as you think about your vision, your goals. Does it give you more life? And the second level that I really love that she shared is basically, as you're expanding, you got to make sure that you're congruent, right? Basically, that goal, that vision, is it congruent with your value? Because if it's not, it's gonna be a pull even in your subconscious mind, right? Because you want to be fully engaged in your vision, in your goals, right? And the next level that I really love is, will I grow with it? Like you talk about life is expensive, but will I grow with it? So it's important, right? That's number 3. And the number 4 is basically, do I know everything about it? If you don't, magically, that's really what you want. Because if you knew it, it wouldn't be a stretch, it wouldn't be a goal. And the last one I like is, is there a good for everybody, right? So basically, as you grow, are you helping and contributing, right? So this is an easy check to kind of look at your vision, if that helps you. If not, really just check it back again, because the reason it's important to have that clarity in your picture. And next week, what we're looking at is basically connecting that and why it's important. And really, I hope this helps you. But really, I hope that helps you get clear on your vision and how you can develop it. And exciting, and as I'm sharing, there are some kids right behind us. I'm close to a kindergarten here, but that's really a blessing, and I want to, end it here. But next week, it's going to be important. We're going to even go further, because one thing I wanted to share that's this. Getting clarity means also make it understandable, right? So why do you want to make it understandable? It's because your subconscious and the universe, when you make it clear and understandable, your message is clear. All right? So I hope this serves you, and feel free to share. But I'm really excited this new year. Let's be bold, my friend, and don't forget, dare to shine. All right, my friend.